Introduction to System Analysis and Design. Learning objectives. At the end of these slides, you should be able to understand the generic systems development lifecycle, the various SDLC methodologies, the need for change management, the business case document, how to create it, as well as start planning an IT project. Please look at all the learning objectives. And once you're done with all these slides, please come back and see if you could successfully master these topics. So this week's lectures will include the system development lifecycle, as well as the functions of a business analyst, and the reasons for change, the business case document, and starting an IT project. So let's look at why system analysis and design. SAD for short, in a broad term, could be described as the methodology for developing a high-quality information system, which combines information technology, people, and data to support a business requirement. So let's look at what is a system. From the first year, we remember we defined a system as an information system. Could be defined as a set of interrelated components that function to provide a required information for a specific purpose, which if we look at figure 1.1, a system receives input data which is processed, resulting in meaning information output. Let's look at figure 1.2. Figure 1.2, the diagram illustrates the basic elements of a payroll system. The inputs include employees' hours worked and their employee tax code. The data, along with previous stored data such as pay rate and employee details, would be used within the system process to calculate tax and calculate pay in order to calculate the employee's pay. So let's look at the SDLC. The SDLC, there is no universal version for the SDLC. The SDLC is a conceptual model used to describe the stages in an information system development. The SDLC includes a detailed plan on how to develop, alter, maintain, and replace a software system. So let's look at the different phases of SDLC. If we look at the initiation phase and the system concept phase, these phases together produces the business case. So let's look at what we do in the first phase, initiation. It begins with a business need when opportunity is identified. Once the opportunity is identified, we then move on to a system concept development. There we define the boundaries of the concept, and then let's move to the planning phase. The planning phase, we develop either a project management plan or other plan document. These provide the basis for acquiring resources required to achieve the solution. Once that is done, we move to the requirement analysis. The requirement analysis uses we analyze users' needs and develop a user's requirements, and then we create a functional requirement document or specification. Then we move over to the design phase. We will create a systems requirement specification. In this phase, we'll transform the detailed requirements into a complete detailed system design document that focuses on how to deliver the required functionality. Once we're done with the design phase, we move to the development phase. At this phase, we convert the design into a complete information system, including an inquiring installation system environment, creating the test database and the test cases. Once we're out of development phase, we move into the integration and testing. There we demonstrate that the development conforms to the requirements and specification of the functional requirements documents. Then we move to the implementation phase. When we move to the implementation phase, that includes the implementation of the system into a production environment. Once we're done and we have it into a production environment, we'll move on to operation and maintenance. And in operation and maintenance, we basically, as it says, we do operational and maintenance support. Once the system's in production, we could do any post implementation and in process reviews. So let's look at the functions highlighted in red for the BA and the SA highlighted in blue. So let's look at some SDLC modules. Let's look at the waterfall module. The waterfall module is a sequential design process which progress is seen as a flowing steadily downwards, like a waterfall, through the phases, which include requirements analysis, system design, implementation, testing, and maintenance. So let's look at the V module. The V module takes the bottom half of the waterfall module and bends it upwards into a V, so that activities on the right verify or validate the work product of the activities on the left. More specifically, the left-hand side of the V represents the analysis activity that decomposes the user's needs into smaller manageable pieces, while the right-hand side of the V shows the corresponding activity that aggregate and test these pieces into a system that meets the user's requirements or needs. So let's look at JAD. What is JAD? JAD is a joint application development. It was originally developed for designing a computer-based system, but it can be applied to any development process. It involves continuous interaction with users and different designers of a system in development. JAD centers around a workshop session that is structured and focused. Participants of these sessions would typically include facilitators, end users, developers, observers, mediators, and experts. JAD allows for faster development process and minimizes errors at the same time. JAD also improves high quality of the final product by focusing on upfront portion of the development lifecycle, thus reducing the likelihood of errors that are expensive to correct later on. JAD is the opposite of RAD. So let's look what is RAD. So RAD is rapid application development, is a form of agile software development methodology that prioritizes rapid prototype releases and iterations. Unlike the waterfall method, RAD emphasizes the use of a software and user feedback over strict planning and recording. As we look at RAD, the project follows an iterative and incremental model and has small teams comprising of developers and domain experts, customer representatives, and other IT resources working progressively on the component or prototype. A prototype is a working model that is functional equivalent to a component of a product. So let's look at the manifesto for agile development. As it says in the manifesto, we are uncovering better ways of developing software by doing it and helping others do it. Through this work, we have come to value. If we look at the components It says we value individual and interactions of a process and tools. As in the explanation, we look at the other options that says that while there is value in the items on the right, we value the items on the left more. So let's look at Scrum framework. So what is Scrum framework? So a Scrum framework is a framework that helps teams work together, much like a rugby team, where it gets its name from. Training for a big game. Scrum encourages teams to learn through experiences, self-organization, while working on a problem, and it reflects on their wins and losses to continually improve. Scrum is popular collaboration framework based on agile methodologies, which embrace cross-functional collaboration and incremental development and design flexibility. So let's look at what Scrum is. So Scrum, as we said, is a popular collaboration based on agile methodology, which embraces cross-functional collaboration, incremental development, and flexibility. Let's look at the roles and responsibility. Typical roles include a product owner, a scrum master, and a development team. The product owner is the person who represents the client. He's typically interacting with the client and has an understanding of the business requirement. You'll get product owners that also initiate the scrum process, who define the list of tasks, and these tasks are called backlog. The product owner then prioritizes them in order to of his importance. The Scrum Master, on the other hand, is the process leader who is responsible to make sure the team is following the Scrum best practice. A typical Scrum process begins with a backlog. A product backlog of tasks and requirements, usually created and is maintained by the product owner. Once the backlog is established, the team will decide on sprints. A sprint is a period of time where the development team will complete a set of tasks from backlogs. These tasks usually determined by the based on priority level of the effort and is reassessed in sprint planning meetings at the beginning of each sprint cycle. Teams typically pick up sprint cycles every 2 weeks because it's a good time frame to complete a substantial amount of work while still having enough time flexible to pilot and prioritize change. Some teams have daily scrum meetings, which is a quickly stand-up meeting to report progress and discuss issues. It gives the team visibility of the pace of development and decide if the crash course is needed to make time. Once a sprint is complete, there is usually a sprint retro meeting that reflects on previous sprints and fixes any issues on the spot. It's also a great opportunity for the development team to reassess, take capability on more or less tasks following the sprint. Let's look. We spoke about the methodology as well as the roles of the Scrum roles. We spoke about the Scrum owner, the Scrum master, the Scrum team. So we'll end this lesson today on the Scrum team. So as we said, a Scrum team is a collection of individuals, typically 5 to 7 members, working together to deliver a product or increments. As we also said, the Scrum